Good evening, everybody. Monday, we're here for the first of a couple of predictions tonight. The main events we're going for, starting in MSG, the theatre. Dennis Berinchyk defends his WBO Lightweight Championship of the World against Keyshawn Davis. If we're being honest about it, boys, the fight's set up for Keyshawn to realise his destiny. So Top Rank and everyone around him will be hoping for. Obviously, Berinchyk now 36 years old. Keyshawn still very young at 25. Berinchyk undefeated, as is Keyshawn. He's 19-0. Keyshawn 12-0. The difference in promotion behind the two of them, the difference in height between the two of them, however, is a completely different story. I haven't watched a great deal of Berinchyk, I'll be honest. I did watch him beat Emmanuel Navarrete last time out, though when Navarrete exercises WBO privileges to have a go for that belt. Obviously, he then went back down to Super Feather and beat Valdez. Keyshawn, we did the watch along, the three of us, I think, for his last fight against Gustavo Lemos. He looked fantastic. We saw him give Richardson Hitchens some problems not so long ago as well. And we saw Hitchens now a champion at the weight above. So Keyshawn, for me, I remember us saying at the time as well, Jay, that was his kind of coming of age performance. Top Rank and everyone around him now have seen enough to say that he's ready. He's ready to go in at 25 years old and get his shot at the world title. Berinchyk, they probably picked him for a specific reason. Him and Shakur will never fight. They're the best of friends. He's trained by Bomac, I believe, as well, Keyshawn. So he's got all the right, people around him, all the right noise. Crawford backing him, Andre Ward backing him. All this going on. Shakur. Is it, I've given him the big build up there, obviously. Is it that black and white, do you boys think, on Friday night? Or is Dennis Berinchyk gonna cause some issues to the Keyshawn Davis party on Friday?
No, he's not. No. I mean, I know he's unbeaten and he's tough and he's durable. Keyshawn Davis is I'm not going to say generational, but he's special. He's got, his last fight, I think he's the first guy to stop. Was he not the first guy to stop?
Yeah. Lemos,
sorry. First person to stop him, and he's been in with some heavy-handed people. As you said in the intro, Sam, it's set up to make Keyshawn's look good, sort of a coming-out party. And to go in against an unbeaten fighter, Navarrete, people were saying great things about him up until the Berinchyk loss. I just think it's all stacked in Keyshawn's favour. He's considerably younger. I think, 10, 11 years younger?
11 years, the difference.
I think he hits a little bit harder, and we're seeing incremental improvements in his fight, every fight on fight. Berinchyk, you see is what you get. Come forward, tough, durable, yes, unbeaten, but he's not boxed that many decent fighters. Not many fighters on his resume that you'll know. Maybe in his last 10, he's gone up the levels and he's world
he's
champion.
A completely unknown entity, mate, isn't he? Even at 36 years old, you look at his. I've just got his box record. Navarrete, like you just said, Jay, great win. Before that, bless him, great fighter in his own right, but he just recently retired. In Poland, he fought Anthony, can you dig it, Yigit. Then before that, Ivan Mendy, we've seen him how many times, that was at Spurs. And what card that was on. And then all of that, all these fights have all been in Ukraine. Aside from that, it's not like he's been around for years at the top.
So a lot of, he's been around the top level, say 4 or 5 years. Before that, he was domestic and sort of European level. Keyshawn Davis has had 2 or 3 fights at domestic level as such, NABF level. And then he's gone straight up the levels. So I believe that he is a level above Berinchyk, even though he's had considerably less fights and he's considerably less experienced. He's with a training team that is the best of the best. His sparring and his stable is the best of the best. So you get something from that, don't you? Like a footballer, when a footballer goes to a decent team, if he's a decent player himself, he either falls flat on his face or he gets something from playing with better players. And I believe that Keyshawn is taking things from the likes of Shakur Stevenson, Terence Crawford, Bomac's boxing knowledge and things like that. I just think it's all set up in his favour. And I just don't see Berinchyk doing anything other than giving him rounds.
Yeah, how'd you see it, Liam?
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be really blunt about it. When they made Navarrete to fight Berinchyk last year, they were looking at that being an all top ranking house fight with Keyshawn. That's the route they were going. Navarrete, unfortunately, just couldn't quite make the jump up in weight, and he was ultimately the size difference that beat him on the night. I know it was a split decision, but he struggled with the size difference all night. Davis is, look, me and Jay have said before, we got really excited when this fight was made with big Keyshawn fans, and it's good that he's made the right steps up. What is this? Is 13-0, so in his 14th fight, he's in a world title fight. And say what you want about his opponent, it's still a world champion. You still got to beat the guy that's in front of you that's got the belt. Anthony Joshua's done it. Canelo's done it. Everyone's beat what's in front of them at certain points in their career to pick up a world title. So
Charles Martin, take Femi out of that conversation. Delete that. We're editing this one. I'm not having Joshua beating Charles Martin as taking a world title from someone.
That's an example of... Fair enough.
Sorry, I'm digressing. Sorry.
You're all good, mate. So it's one of those now where Keyshawn's on the right path. We know Bob's got a relationship with the WBO. So if you want to look at his prospects, what belts do 80% of them pick up first? A WBO title. It's just the way his relationship works. It's similar to what Frank done with Beefy and Terry Flanagan and stuff over here 10, 11 years ago. That's how it works. Yeah. Once this belt's won, though, what's he going to do? Because like we said, he's not going to fight Shakur. They're best mates. You're never going to see that fight made. The rest of the division's kind of in turmoil because of what's happening with promoters crossing over platforms.
Andy Cruz, get it on. Stop hanging around.
I think it will be the Andy Cruz fight we see out in Saudi. But in terms of moving on to unify the division, which is ultimately how a legacy is built, I wonder how he's going to do it at this weight class. I think
we don't know what Loma's doing yet. Loma's still IBF champion, as far as I know. Tank is fighting Lamont Roach in a couple of weeks' time. So the division's, and like you say, Shakur's his best mate. So the division's kind of, only one of them can be in that division if they want to unify belts, really, I think.
I mean, Andy Cruz is the IBF international or whatever champion he is. If Loma vacates, guarantee they'll put the vacant IBF belt on a Cruz and Keyshawn fight if he wins this on Friday night for later in the year. You can see that very happening.
I would not be surprised, though, if Keyshawn wins this and moves straight up and goes one above.
Yeah, I think Keyshawn could do 140.
I think Keyshawn's got the frame to move up.
I think he can as
Shakur
well.
will struggle up. I think that's why Shakur's staying where he is.
Shakur doesn't have any pop either.
Nah.
The higher Shakur goes up the weights, he's facing bigger punches as well, you have to remember.
I think in time with Keyshawn, because he's still 23, 24, by his late 20s, I think he can move up to 147. I do agree. For now, 140 is probably not that big a jump, but in another 3-4 years, 147 might not be beyond him either. He's got the abilities.
Was it 135, when he was starting out?
Yeah, he's got the abilities to move through these weight classes, and this is just the first stop for him. Is Berinchyk going to take him rounds? Yes. Has he got a chance of winning? Of course he does. Any man that puts a pair of gloves on has a chance of winning. But Keyshawn is a polished boxer. Keyshawn is a polished boxer that should be able to win this fight at a canter, really. If he's having to overly exert himself, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'm going to go with what you boys have both said now about giving him rounds. I think Keyshawn will win the fight. I do. He's going to be too slick for Berinchyk. There's a difference in levels and ability. I don't think he'll get him out of there, though, but I do think he wins a wide enough unanimous decision, 9-3-ish on the cards. Berinchyk will win a few rounds, I think, but Keyshawn's too good, in my opinion, boys. UD for the challenger for me.
Yeah, I'm of a similar, but I think we'll see it. I think he'll look more like a young Derek Chisora, and he'll win 12-0.
The new polished Derek Chisora.
The new polished Derek Chisora that without the knockdowns would have scraped a draw apparently, but that's another topic.
We'll save that for tomorrow, mate. I'm keeping the powder dry.
But yeah, I think Berinchyk may take a couple of rounds off him. I'm being flippant. I'm joking. 9-3, 10-2. I just think there might be a couple of rounds earlier on, but I think once Keyshawn finds his range and his rhythm, he'll start to pull away. I don't think he'll stop him. I think Berinchy's tough enough and wily and crafty enough to be able to maneuver his way around the rounds. And I don't think he'll fight in the pocket, because if he fights Keyshawn's way faster than him. He'll catch him and he'll knock him down, maybe not knock him out. So I think it'll be a measured performance. by both men. I don't think Keyshawn's going to go all out as well, because Berinchyk could cause the upset if Keyshawn plays into his hands, which I believe will be to stay in the pocket and open up looking to counter. I think Berinchy's too wily for that. So I think we'll see Keyshawn give him a bit of a boxing lesson after he sort of manoeuvres his way through a sort of timid start, a more even start, should I say. So, yeah, I see him unanimous decision.
Yeah, look, I think the logic is there to say that Berinchyk is a tough opponent, and to stop him, it's going to take Keyshawn maybe having to fight fire with fire a little bit, which goes against the game plan he's going to want to execute. But for me, I think as the fight wears on and Keyshawn moves through the gears, a stoppage in the last 3 or 4 rounds wouldn't surprise me, just from the sheer volume of punches. I mean, Berinchyk, as good as he is, he doesn't have a lot of movement. And we've seen with Keyshawn, if you're an opponent that has limited movement and goes back in straight lines, he can pick you off and break you down in fights. I think a UD would be, the smart money, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a stoppage between 9 and 12 for Keyshawn, either from the corner or just by the referee jumping in because he's taking a bit of a pasting.
Okay, then. So myself and Jay with UDs for Keyshawn. Liam's got a hint of a late stoppage in there for the challenger, but all of us picking and the new on Friday night in the theatre at MSG. Of course, we'll be there watching the fight. We probably won't cover the undercard, but just something to mention on the undercard as well. You've got Xander Zayas, Jared Anderson, Abdullah Mason. So a lot of the American younger stars are out on the card as well. So it is a decent card that they've put on Valentine's night. Big up Lee Murray. Thank you very much for tuning in. Very complimentary of the videos he's been. So appreciate that, Lee. I think Berinchyk caused early problems, but the right-up couple stopped Dennis. So there you go. Yeah, like Jay said, kind of early-ish. If anything, Berinchyk might be able to get something going, but Keyshawn probably is going to find his rhythm, isn't he, later on in the fight? But who knows? We'll see. Anyone who's joined us, thank you very much. We'll catch up on Friday regarding this fight. We'll preview it on No Punches Pulled tomorrow, and we're going to do one more tonight. We're going to do the main event from Manchester on Saturday night. Jack Catterall, Arnold Barboza Jr. So catch us in a couple of minutes for that. Cheers, guys.
See you soon.